In a world where average fades, only the relentless rise. You're stepping into a new standard. Strength, purpose, leadership. This is the Chad Miller Fitness Podcast.
Hey everyone, Chad Miller here. Welcome to another Chad Miller Fitness Podcast. Today, we're going to be cutting straight into something that is a dream killer, indecision. And no, I'm not talking about the massive life-changing decisions like switching careers or moving across the country. I'm talking about the little choices, the little delays, the let me think about it moments that pile up until you wake up one day stuck in the same place you've always been. You know what I'm talking about, that business idea you've been researching for 6 months, the conversation with someone that keeps getting pushed to next week, or the gym membership you signed up for but you haven't even walked in the doors yet. Every single one of those delays is costing you, not just time, but momentum. So let's get clear about this. You don't need more time. You don't need more information. You need to decide. Every person listening to this is one decision away from building real momentum in their life. And every moment spent hesitating, stalling, or second guessing, that's what's taking away from a better future. And you know, thinking about this more, indecision isn't neutral. It's not like you're just staying in the same place. You're actually moving backwards because while you're sitting there analyzing, your competition is executing. While you're getting more information, opportunities are passing you by. So today I want to unpack some common traps I see people fall into when it comes to decision making and how to destroy them before they destroy your progress. The first one we're going to get into, making decisions based on your current identity. If you're making decisions based on who you are right now, you're locking yourself into the same results you've always gotten. So let me paint this picture for you. You're standing in front of two roads. Road 1 is familiar, it's safe, it's what most people would choose. Road 2, that's the unknown. It's what the future version of you would choose in a second. The version of you who's already built the life you want. Most people take Road 1 every single time, and then they wonder why their life looks exactly the same a year later. You've got to start thinking like the future version of you, the one who's already leveled up. I want you to ask yourself, what would the version of me who's already built the body, the income, the life I want do in this situation? That version of you makes moves differently. That version of you doesn't play small, and that version of you doesn't operate from fear. Here's an example. You've been thinking about hiring a coach, but your current identity says, I can't afford that, or I should be able to figure this out on my own. But the future version of you, the one who's already achieved what you want, he's invested in himself years ago. He knows that speed matters more than saving money. Your current circumstances aren't your ceiling unless you keep making decisions like they are. I see this all the time with people who want to get in shape but keeps making decisions like someone who doesn't prioritize their health. Your identity is not fixed, it's chosen. Every decision you make is a vote for the type of person you want to become. The next one we're going to get into is playing not to lose instead of playing to win. Have you ever watched a team dominate in the first 3 quarters, then lose in the final stretch? That's what happens when they start playing it safe. They stop going for the kill and they start guarding the lead. In life and business, playing not to lose is the fastest way to start losing. We can see this with entrepreneurs who finally start making good money, then become paralyzed by fear of losing it. So they stop taking the risks that got them there in the first place. They start making conservative decisions. They stop innovating. They stop pushing the boundaries. And guess what happens? They plateau and decline. Or take fitness, for example. You lose 20 pounds and suddenly you're terrified of gaining it back. So you stop challenging yourself. You stick to the same safe routine. You avoid social events and you become obsessed with maintaining and your life shrinks. That's playing not to lose, and it's a losing strategy. So ask yourself, are you holding back because you're trying to protect what you've got? Or are you pushing forward because you're focused on what you're becoming? Winners always play to win. Always. They understand that the same energy that got them to this level is the same energy that will get them to the next level. You don't dial it down when you start succeeding, you double down. Okay, next, using logic to quiet your instinct. Now, I'm all for strategy, don't get me wrong, but too many people are paralyzed by spreadsheets and pros and cons lists, when deep down, they already know what needs to be done. Sometimes your gut knows before your brain catches up, but instead of acting on it, you start overanalyzing it. You make lists, you do research, you ask about 15 people for their opinion, you create elaborate decision-making frameworks, and all the while, your intuition is screaming at you just to make the decision. Listen, your intuition is not irrational. It's a lot of times faster than your ego. It's processing information at a subconscious level that your conscious mind hasn't even caught up to yet. It's reading patterns, assessing risk, and calculating probabilities faster than any spreadsheet ever could. But in a lot of ways, we've been conditioned to trust the data over our instincts, to value logic over intuition, and while both have their place, too much analysis leads to paralysis. Now, I'm not saying be reckless. I'm saying trust the part of you that's been steering you towards growth your entire life. If your gut instinct has been right more often than it's been wrong, then start acting like it. Okay, this next one, all right, here's a good one. Forgetting every decision has a cost. Every yes is a no to something else. This is what economists would call opportunity cost, but it's deeper than that. It's about understanding that your life is the sum of all your choices, and every choice eliminates other possibilities. If you say yes to scrolling, you just said no to your morning workout. Saying yes to an unqualified client, you just said no to your sanity. Saying yes to comfort, you just said no to growth. And the price tag isn't always obvious until it shows up in your results or your regrets. You probably know people who say yes to everything because they don't want to disappoint people. They take on projects they don't want to take on, attend events they don't want to go to, and maintain relationships that drain them. They think they're being nice, but what they're really doing is saying no to their priorities, their goals, and their future. When making a decision, here's something that could help. Before making any decisions, ask yourself 3 questions. What am I saying yes to? What am I saying no to? Is this trade-off worth it? Most of the time, when you frame it like that, the answer becomes crystal clear. Make every yes count, because when you're intentional about your yeses, you're building the life you actually want instead of just reacting to whatever comes your way. This next one, living in the gray zone. Let's call it what it is. Indecision is a slow death, and I would rather make the wrong decision and learn from it than make no decision and stay in limbo. Because when you sit in that gray zone, the back and forth, the what ifs, the maybes, the not yets, you drain your energy, clarity, and confidence. Think about it. How much mental energy are you spending on decisions you should have made weeks ago? How much bandwidth is being consumed by open loops that could be closed with a simple choice? That energy could be going towards execution, towards building, towards progress, but instead it's trapped. Here's the thing about wrong decisions. They give you information. They teach you something. They move you forward, even if it's in a direction you eventually course correct from. But indecision teaches you nothing. It keeps you exactly where you are. I'd rather make 10 quick decisions and get 8 of them right than spend months agonizing over one decision and never make it at all. What you need to do is to decide, take action, and adjust later. Speed wins, action clarifies, and what you'll discover is most decisions are reversible. You can change course, you can pivot, you can adapt, but you can't do any of that from sitting in the gray zone. And the last one, choosing comfort over future. This one is brutal because it just sneaks in. You make these little decisions based on what's easy now, not on what's effective long term. You hit snooze instead of getting up. You take the client that doesn't fit instead of holding the line. You avoid the conversation instead of powering through it. It feels small until it compounds. And thinking about how to describe comfort, well, comfort is like a drug. The more you choose it, the more you need it. The more you need it, the harder it becomes to choose the challenging path. I see this with people who want to get in shape but keep choosing the comfortable, convenient food choices. The food choices that taste good in the moment but destroy their future health. They think they're just making one small decision, but they're actually reinforcing a pattern. They're training themselves to prioritize short-term comfort over long-term results. The real you, the legacy version of you, is built through delayed gratification. Every time you choose the harder path, you're building the capacity to choose it again. You're strengthening your ability to prioritize the future rewards over immediate comfort. So the next time when you feel pulled towards what's comfortable, ask, what would the high standard version of me choose right now? Not the version of you that's tired or stressed out or overwhelmed. The version of you that's really firing on all cylinders. The version of you that's already achieved what you're working toward. What would that guy choose? And I'll leave you with this. Close the open loops. What decision have you been avoiding? That one thing that's been taking up space in your mind for weeks. The open loop that's renting your mental bandwidth and draining your energy. Maybe it's a conversation, an investment, an ending, a beginning. Whatever it is, it's time to handle it. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to make a decision. Because high performance isn't about being right all the time. It's about being clear and committed and in take action mode. The people who succeed aren't the ones who make perfect decisions. They're the ones who make decisions quickly and adjust as they go. They understand that clarity comes from action, not by thinking about it forever. So if you want a challenge, pick something you've been putting off and handle it this week. You'll be shocked how much energy returns the second you stop putting it off and start taking action. That weight on your shoulder disappears the moment you commit. And here's what's great about this. Once you start making decisions quickly, you build momentum. Each decision becomes easier. Your confidence grows. Your ability to trust yourself expands. You become the type of person who doesn't hesitate, who doesn't overthink, who sees what needs to be done and does it. That's the difference between high performers and everyone else. It's not that they make better decisions, it's that they make decisions faster. Well, I hope you found this episode useful. Speaking of momentum, this is the 8th episode, and I'm really enjoying the feedback I'm getting from the podcast. To help the mission, it would mean a lot if you share this podcast with someone who needs to hear it. And drop a rating. It doesn't take that long, and it really helps the mission by getting a bigger reach and making a bigger impact. Once again, this is Chad Miller, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks for listening.
You just listened to the Chad Miller Fitness Podcast, where men rise with discipline, clarity, and action.